Good Monday morning of the 29th week in Ordinary Times. This is Sunday night. I forgot to do these. Anyway, oh gosh. Anyway, I hope I can get these done. A few of them tonight and the rest tomorrow. I'm getting clumsy in my old age. Whatever. Anyway, the gospel is Luke, and it's a famous, famous gospel. Luke is I told you this before, he's just a wonderful writer. He's a good storyteller, but he's also extremely articulate. He's just a good writer who tells good stories. See? Luke is maybe in some way the most gifted of the four Gospels in terms of his writing skills, his storytelling skills. But this is a good one. Let me read it to you. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." He replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" And he said to the crowd, this is where the whole core of this reading is, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." He told him a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do? For I do not have space to store my harvest." See? And he said, "Then this is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods, and I shall say to myself, now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you. And the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong? Thus will it be for the one who stores up treasures for himself, but is not rich in what matters to God." See, that's an interesting, because in many ways it counters at that time what was considered to be a divine blessing, namely wealth. And this guy's got tons of it. By the time you get to New Testament, especially, yes, it ain't necessarily so. And what rather matters are things that are eternal. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, the ancient Greeks knew that. This is Plato with a vengeance, and Luke was a Greek. He had it when he went to grammar school. I'm sure he learned, I shouldn't talk like that, but you know what I'm saying. It's in their blood. It's in the Greeks. Plato and Aristotle, the great philosophers, they were part of the culture. So this is not new, that the ultimate values are eternal, not temporal. And in the New Testament, we put it in the language of treasures in heaven, as it were. But that's very, very Greek. Very, very Greek. More than Hebrew, it's Greek. It's Greek thought, you see. "You fool, this very night, your life will be demanded, and the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong? So what?" You see. "Thus it will be for the one who stores up treasures for himself, but is not rich in what matters to God." You see. How fleeting is the goods of this world, how transient. Not only its glory, but its possessions. You know, whether you're rich or poor, you die. Maybe if you're rich, you live a little longer because you got better medical care. But in the end, you're going to die. And it's over. Is that all there is? And to whom will it all go? You know, something that I think about is the things you treasure, you want to hand on. You know, the things you treasure, some of your possessions, you want your children and your grandchildren to have them. Not just, let's say, your affluence, your wealth, but things that are symbolic of your life. I think of that a lot. I think of that an awful lot. To whom will some of the things that matter so much to me for their aesthetic value, or they are a part of my narrative, my story of my life? To whom will that go? Will they go? One of the things is, if you saw the house here my condo, is the wolf and the bears, and They're not trophies. They are marvelous depictions. They are marvelous instantiations of my story, my life story. They're as important to me, not in their physicality, but in what they symbolize in the story of my life. So when I sit here in my red chair and I think about things that matter to me, I don't think of them as possessions, but as sacraments of my story. And I want to hand that story on, as it were. I think, not as a thing, but as a sacrament of the narrative, which is my life. I don't think that's the same thing as storing up money. These are things that when one looks at them, they also make present to the viewer my life, who I am. Not my life as such as a story, but who I am. And one day, who I was. I think of that a great deal. So I have my father's shotgun. It's up on my fireplace. I mean, I haven't fired that thing in 50 years. But it was the first gun I ever fired, and I fired it with my father. He let me shoot it. I was just a boy. It's priceless to me. It's a sacrament of my father's love for me and his sending on and handing on to me really what he loves so much, the woods and the water. The woods and the water. The first thing my father did when he became an American citizen was to get a hunting license, as I remember the story. See? And in some ways, that's when he bought this gun, 1927. So it's almost 100 years old, you see. Has it got monetary value? Not that I know of. Probably nothing. But it's precious to me. And the same, for instance, the bear that's right over here, right next to me. You could see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. It took 5 years for me to get a bear. I hold a record for being the worst bear hunter in the history of Northern Ontario. They used to think that I must be doing something, because how could you go that long with a guided hunt and not get one? Well, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I finally got this one. And I swore, I said, if I ever get a bear, I'm going to mount it walking. And there it is. There it is. See? And I remember it with reverence, the life that I took, the beauty of the animal. Yeah, that's the truth. And the wolf, well, I only bought the pelt up in Alaska, okay? But the wolf is a beautiful animal, and it reminds me all the time that the wolf walked up to me. One of the greatest moments, religious moments of my life, when the wolf walked up to me up in Northern Ontario. I felt my humanity, my animality. He had accepted me. I kept thinking, this wolf has accepted me. He's accepted me. I knew what it was to be a creature at that moment. Somebody asked me once, what was one of the great religious experiences of my life? And mine was when the wolf visited me. He wasn't afraid of me. He just looked at me and he walked away. He meant me no harm. But I wasn't so foreign to him that he felt he had to stay clear of me. He visited me. It was a beautiful moment. See? Beautiful. Priceless. Now, that's not the wolf that's in front of me here, but when I bought the pelt to have it made, the wolf, it's with that other wolf in mind, the real one, the one that actually visited me. But he looked at me like this one does. And I thought he was saying, who are you? Welcome to my world. It was a great experience. I don't know why I'm even sharing these things with you, if they make any sense to you. But I think there are goods that are very valuable because they are intrinsic to the narrative that you tell, the story of your life. See? Often our photographs are portraits that way, but also other very important symbols. Then you think of your own life, what you have in your living room, in your bedroom, sacred places with certain items that maybe go back your whole marriage. When I say Mass in the morning here by myself here on Saturday mornings, I use a crucifix that was in my parents' bedroom. Is it pretty? No, it's kind of gaudy, to tell you the truth. But it's the one I remember from the bedroom. And as I say, Master, just by myself, it's just me and the crucifix, Lily, my dog. And I think of this, whatever it's worth you, I probably was conceived at the foot of that cross, because that's been in my mother and father's bedroom. I think it was a gift for their wedding. I was most likely conceived. I came to be real at the foot of that cross. And maybe I'll die at the same thing, at the foot of that cross. That cross has no value monetarily, but it has an infinite value symbolically and sacramentally. It's the story of my existence and my family, you see. So, I don't know, just sharing a thought with you. Feel like I'm in a reflective moment here. Yeah, these are not things. Think of the items in your home that are sacraments of your story, that when you look at them, you remember who you are, where you are, and how you got here, and with whom especially. Who graced your existence? Who graced your narrative? And how are these symbols reminiscent of those moments that constitute the deeply personal elements of your existence, your personal story? Just a thought.